Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today I am going to be teaching you how to script on Roblox. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go up here in this little create tab and click it. And this is what is going to pop up. Now, if you don't have Roblox Studio, you're going to have to download it, and there's a couple ways to do that. And the easiest way, it should be already downloaded whenever you install Roblox. But if it's not, you just hit create new game. There's no game show up here or anything. Just hit create new game. And then you can pick your stuff. Base plate, basic settings. You can name it whatever you want. So let's name it test world. You can add a description if you want. You can add a genre, all that kind of stuff. You can always fiddle with these settings later, so you don't have to mess with those. So we're just going to leave those how they are. We will add console and advanced settings, all genres. Okay, let's create this game. So you can fiddle with those settings as much as you want. And now, as you can see right here, test world. So then you're going to click edit, and this will happen. So it'll check for Roblox Studio, and if it's not already there, it will download. If it is already there, it'll just open. So once you have it open, we are going to actually start building. Okay, so now that we're in Studio, let's go over some of the basic things that we need to do. So let's get your studio all set up and personalized to your liking. So click the View tab, and you can see all of this. Now, you can close a bunch of stuff out. So this may be what yours looks like. It may look something like this. But you can click these out. Let's just go exactly like this. So now you can click all of these to open it. So I'm going to go through each one and tell you what it is. So the first one is Explore. Now Explore is where you can see everything. So if you insert a part, it's going to go into the workspace, and you can see it right here. And if we can't see it, we know it's there. So, and you can edit things, and that is what the Explorer is. Properties. So properties, let's just keep this part inserted. Properties tab can change a bunch of stuff, and we will go through that in the next video. They can change the appearance. They can just change data, behavior part. They can change a bunch of different stuff about how it looks and behaves. Next thing is the Game Explorer. Once you have badges and products and all of that, you can put these in here, and this will help you once you have different places that your game will teleport you to, or badges, or developer products, or stuff like that. We'll get into those in a later video as well. Toolbox. So this is where you can find models created by other people, and you can insert them into your game. So to insert them into your game, you just click, let's see, ooh, I want this basics today ad. You click it, and now it's in our game. So that is how the toolbox works. But do be cautious about when you're downloading free models, because sometimes they do have viruses, and we'll talk about that later. Tutorials is where you can click, and it opens up a tab where it has a bunch of different tutorials, but you don't need that because you got me. Next, we have the object browser, and what that does is it can help you see pretty much everything you can do in your code. So you probably wouldn't use this unless you were very, very advanced in the field of scripting, so don't open that for now. Output. So basically this, whenever we make a script, the output can see what's happening. So for example, if we put print hello world, and then we go back in here and we run it, you will see down here in the output, it will say hello world. So that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and stop that. So that's what the output does. Script analysis, it tells you if there's any errors in your code. The command bar, you can run different commands. Breakpoints, I'm not 100% sure what this does. Some of these I've never used and I've never needed to use. Call stack, once again, don't know what it is. It's not necessary for what you're doing. Watch and performance are the same. It just tells you like your rendered stuff and just that kind of thing. Task scheduler, also, I have no idea what this is, but I've never needed it. Script performance, same thing. Find results. I'm guessing that also shows errors. Team create. Now this is interesting. If you turn it on, you can share with other people, and then they can edit real time with you. Script recovery, that should recover unsaved scripts. And terrain editor, you can make new terrain like this. So as you can see, this is all very fun tools. So now we're going to configure it. So I suggest that you open Explorer, Properties, Toolbox, and Output. Now I know this looks a little crowded, so what you can do, since I never use Toolbox, like I hardly ever use Toolbox, I'm just going to go ahead and pop it with the properties. And basically what that means is you can switch between them. And you can pop things out, you can move them wherever you want. It's pretty much drag and drop. And so these are the tabs that I recommend that are open. You can always open, whatever you want. I think these are the best for what you are going to be doing in the beginning. Okay, now let's talk about how to add objects or parts. So here's a part. You can go ahead and click it. There's a couple ways to add a part. First, just clicking it up here. Second, you can add it by clicking this little plus in the workspace and then searching for a part, like that, and that also inserts a part. Or you can insert it via a script that we will not be talking about at the moment. We'll be talking about that in a later episode. So, or maybe later in this episode. So there's a couple things you can do with these bricks. You can move them. Pretty self-explanatory. You can scale them. Also pretty self-explanatory. You can rotate them. Also pretty self-explanatory. You can rotate them any way you want. You can... so those are the main things that you can do with a part. Now to spawn different types of parts besides blocks, you just go here, you click on which part you want, and it'll spawn it in. So the different parts are sphere, wedge, and cylinder. And they're all used for different things, and you could build something pretty decent with all of these. So let's get rid of all of these. And let's move on to our next thing. And that is going to be properties. So let's spawn a block, and we're going to talk about all the properties, what they do, when you're going to need them, and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and open up properties. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do. You can change the color. Brick color, you can change it as well. Color, color and brick color are basically the same thing. Don't know why they have two different things, but you could just change it. The brick color has this sort of like hexagonal where you can pick anything, when this one has more of you can change the values and stuff like that. Material, you can obviously change the materials. They have a bunch of different materials and they all look different. So for example, I could do neon, I could do metal, marble, whatever. Reflectant, so this is how it reflects against the light. So right now you can't really see a difference, but if we get a light in here, which we should probably do, and I'll explain how to add lighting later, but to get a light in here, we're going to get a point light, and let's just go ahead and change those properties just a bit, make it a bit brighter. Okay, so now if we move this like this, now you'll see a difference because there's a bunch of light. So if we go back here, we change the reflectance, you should see a difference. Okay, so you're not, for some reason, I don't know why. We will figure that out later. Okay, transparency. This is obvious. It tells how transparent the block or the part is. You can make it completely invisible if you just want like a checkpoint that's invisible. Yes, so the next one that you can access right now is the name. So the class name is what it's called. So you can't really change that. It's called a part, or it's called a class name here is camera. So you can't really change that, but you can change the actual name. So let's call this green part. Change it to whatever you want, just no spaces, I don't think. Okay, you can add spaces. So let's just name it back to part, and let's change the orientation. So what that does is it changes where it is in the workspace. So if we did 7, Okay. So if we select it, and we change the orientation to 7, 7, 7, should change, and it's not. And I think it's because... Okay, the next one we're going to do is the parent, which is workspace. And you can't really change that either. It just means what tab it's under. So if you moved it into lighting, now the parent is lighting. As you can see, once we refresh it, oops, we didn't replicate it first. As you can see, it's now lighting. Okay, move it back into workspace. This is the position. So the orientation I thought was the position, but this is the position. So you can change it to 0, 0, 0. And it does not work. You can only change the property, however, when you are doing scripts, when you can only change the position. Otherwise, you can just move it around here, have them move around a little bit. The next one is anchored. So this, if you run the game and the block is all the way up here, and you run it, the block falls, like you would expect, because of gravity. But if we have it anchored, and we load it, the block stays in the air. So that is what anchored is. Can collide basically means that nothing can go through it. So like if I turned it off can collide, players can go through it. So let's see, let's make this huge, and let's just show you what I mean. So going to add a spawn point right here, and let's show you what I mean. So right now, can collide is on. So that means we cannot go through the block. So I will show you what that looks like right now. Okay, so look, as you can see, we can't go through the block. We can go around it, but we can't go through it. So it's like a block. Now the other thing is sort of like, I want to say it's like a hologram, where you can see it, but you can also go through it. It's sort of like a ghost. So when we go, can collide is now off. Now when we go in, you can now go through the part, you can go into the part, and this is useful. Most games use it for like bushes or something that you could hide in like a hide and seek game. So that's that. Then we have, let's turn that back on. We have locked. So this means that now we cannot select it in the menu. We have to select it in the workspace. So I don't like that, so I'm going to turn it off. Now the shape you can change, I think. Yeah, you can change to a cylinder if you wanted it, or a ball. You can change the size, so if you wanted it to be 19 by 200 by 17, it makes it huge. And then you don't need to worry about these right here. They are just, if you want to change the properties, you can. So like smooth, you could make it have studs on it. So that's the back surface. Let's just make them all studs so you can see what I'm talking about. There we go. So they're all studs. So if we were to change the material to plastic, I think it is, they all have studs on it now. So that's what that is, and those are all of the properties. So now that we're done with properties, we are actually going to end this video right here. I'll see you guys later. Have an amazing day.